students, how are you all doing? Welcome to Ekedu. This is your biology session. This is my lecture 4 for the chapter living organism, living world, right? So we're going to talk about different hierarchies of taxonomy in this chapter, but first we're going to talk about the basics of the classification. But before I start this, let's talk about what we've talked in the previous sessions. So we've talked about basic terms of taxonomy, classification, there's neosystematics, cladistics. We've talked about the basics of other terms that were used in the study of naming the organisms, classifying them and identification of those organisms. We've also talked about what are living beings and what are the characteristics of living organisms. So let's start with basic of classification. Now if you see here, it's written characterization and identification. Now kids, how do you identify an organism? So you identify an organism on the basis of the organizational level on their body. So first is organization. What is organization? Organization, if it's a cellular organism or if it's a tissue level organism, then comes organ level organisms, organ system level organisms and a normal organism. So we are talking about what level of organization does the organism belong to. The second says its response to environment. How conscious is the organism. Then there is reproduction. How does organism reproduce? How does it reproduce? If it's sexual or asexual? Does it require two organisms or only one organism with two gametes in sexual reproduction, right? So I hope you've understood. Next is, how do they obtain energy? That means if they are autotrophic or heterotrophic, right? Now last is, how is their growth? What is their life cycle like? For example, if an organism, you see an organism who was first in water with a tail and a circular head, but then they developed into an organism and hopped onto the land. What is that organism? Then you will study all these, but when you study the growth and development, you will see there's two stages. First is aquatic, then second is terrestrial. The organism that I'm talking about is frog, right? So let's come to this. What is this? It says species, genus, family, order, class, phylum and kingdom. In front of phylum, kids, I am also writing division. Okay, I will tell you why I have written it, but let's talk about this first. It says nomenclature. Nomenclature means, in very, very basic language, nomenclature is naming something. Any organism that is present on this planet might have their name. You know what a rose looks like, but you also know what a China rose or a hibiscus looks like, right? So the nomenclature of the organism is very, very important so that we can know what organism the other person is talking about. So this is the naming of human. I hope you know, because it's a very general thing, but for those who do not know, humans are known as Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens, right? Now coming to the family. Family is hominids. What is this written? Family, genus, species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, kingdom. What is this? This is the basics of classification. These are the names that we have defined. We are going to talk about how this is set up in our further classes. But today what I am trying to tell you is, every organism is classified according to their characteristics. If you come from the very below, if you start reading from the very below, it says animal. Humans are an animal. We all know. We've talked about how organisms like us, organisms that are human beings, are related to chimpanzees. We've talked about it, right? I hope you remember. If you don't, go revise it. Okay, so we are animals. Then it says chordates. What are chordates? Chordates are the organisms that have a notochord. We have a vertebrae, right? So this is what chordates are. Then coming to mammals. What are mammals? Hairy animals are mammals. These are the organisms that have hair on their body. We do have hair on our body. Now coming to primates. In primates, there are different species that all belong to families of monkeys, right? Then comes hominid, then comes our genus Homo and species Sapiens. So this is what we're going to talk about in detail today, right? So we're going to talk about the identification of an organism, then we're going to talk about the nomenclature of an organism, and at last we're going to talk about the classification of an organism. Now let's move on. The first topic is classification and identification. It says to identify and characterize an unknown organism by comparing them to a known organism. What does it say? Now let me say it in a very basic language, then we will move further how it's done. Now, if you find an organism, how will you know it is that organism? That's what it's trying to ask you. It says that if you find an unknown organism, you will try to compare this unknown organism with the organisms that we already know about. For example, if you find an organism with 4 legs and barks, you will know that it's a characteristic of a dog. So unknown organism compared with a known organism. This is how we try to identify. This is done with the help of taxonomical aids. What is taxonomical aids? You haven't heard of the word, have you? Let's talk about taxonomical aids. Now, every organism present on this planet needs to be secured so that we can know that it ever existed or is still existing. So these taxonomical aids help us to keep a record. There are different types of taxonomical aids. Each one of them helps us to keep a record, to preserve and to know about the organism. So there's this basic information about the organism. What is the name, biological name of the organism, what the organism characterized as, right? So these are all stored and preserved. Now, if I try to identify an unknown organism, how will I identify it? We will compare, right? So let's say if it's a plant, okay? So we will ask this unknown plant a few questions. Questions like, does it have seeds or it doesn't? Okay, so we are going to ask 2 questions. One is going to be a negative question. The second is going to be a positive question. Now, for example, let me give you a very basic example so that you don't get confused with the words, right? If I have a fruit with me and that fruit is seedless. Seedless means the inside of the fruit doesn't have any seeds. So the next question that will come up in your head will be, if I tell you I have a seedless fruit, what will you think about? That they're different. All the fruits that do not have seeds in them will come into your head. Then the next question you might ask me is is it a long and yellow thing, right? So if I say yes, you will in an instant know that it's a banana, right? So this is how identification of organisms is done. We try to ask questions every question has a yes or a no. If it's a yes, then it leads to something. If it's a no, then it also leads to something. When we talk about taxonomical age, we're going to talk about this. This type of identification is called a key. Okay, so we're going to talk about the taxonomical aid known as key in detail. So you will exactly know the questions. I will give you a few examples of the key so that you understand it clearly. Now, let's talk about, it says nomenclature. What is nomenclature? It is providing a distinct and a proper name to the organism for a universal practice. It says universal. Now, my name is, let's say, Rose. Okay, so Rose is a name that a lot of girls might actually have, right? So, if you're in a public place and you shout my name, you say Rose, and a lot of heads in that crowd will turn to you thinking that you're talking about them as well, which is a problem. If you're trying to talk to one Rose, how are you going to call her? Which is why organisms have nomenclature. What is nomenclature, kids? Nomenclature is providing distinct and proper names. Distinct means different. No two organisms will have a same name. Proper means it is named, an organism is named that specific name because of certain things, right? So those certain things should be provided because of principles that are allotted to us and the procedures to allot a name. So you follow those procedures and principles to name an organism. So it's a universal practice. Why do we say it's a universal practice? We say it's a universal practice because it's a thing that is present all over the world, which means, like I just said, humans are known as Homo sapiens. This word Homo sapiens will not change, which means if I say I'm a Homo sapien here in India, then I can also say I'm a human or a Homo sapien there in US or UK or Europe or any other part of the globe. It's always going to be Homo sapiens. The name, the nomenclature given to an organism is known universally. Universally, mango is known as Mangifera indica. There's no other name if we're talking about scientists. But if you might have noticed, have you personally ever called a mango Mangifera indica? I haven't. I mean, I tell my mother I want to eat mango and not Mangifera indica. So, kids, this nomenclature that comes out is something that is known only in the scientific community. Other people might know it. I am not saying that nobody knows. So, we're talking about that organisms have those names that are known to the scientist for the purposes of research. Now coming to the second part, that is recognized and differentiated by others. I just told you about differentiated means no two organisms will have the same name. There are two words. First is a generic name and second is epithet, specific epithet. So what is a generic name? Like we said Homo sapiens. We said Homo sapiens. So Homo is the generic name, sapiens is the specific epithet, right? Similarly, Mangifera is the genus name. Indica is the specific epithet, right? Now talking about there are two types of names we all talked about. There's mango and there's Mangifera indica. So one of the name is a common name, second name is a scientific name. Scientific name is known globally, common name is known regionally. For example, here in North India, onions are known as what? Pyaj. And if you go into South India or Maharashtra, someplace, it's known as kanda, right? So it's a regional word. It's not a global word, right? It's local, it's in a particular language, and it's uninomial. What is uninomial? It has one name. Onion is called onion, that's it. It's not onion something else, right? On the other hand, this scientific name is named under the principles and guidelines that I just told you about. There's going to be a specific procedure and a principle that is followed before we name an organism something. Then, one organism will only have one name. It says principle of priority. Principle of priority says that if I named an organism Rose, nobody else on this planet can name that organism Rose because I called it Rose first. So other organisms cannot name their own organisms that they found as Rose because mine is already called Rose. So no two organisms will ever have a single name, right? So that is the priority. First name given to an organism is their scientific name. If they are given a name second time, that second name will be used as a synonym and not as a scientific name. Now coming to rules of nomenclature. Now kids, it is a very vast topic, right? So I want you guys to read it before I come here. I will get it into a gist here right now. It's in Latin. Always written. The word Mangifera indica is actually Latin. It's not English. It's Latin. Now coming to, it's written in italics, right? It's written in italics, which means if you see here, it's written Homo sapiens and Mangifera indica. I've written them in italics because I want you guys to know that this is a scientific name and not a common one. Then the first word, like I said, indicates the genus, while the second word indicates the epithet. Genus, epithet. Genus, epithet. We've talked about it. Now coming to, when it's handwritten, both the words are separately underlined, which means if I write with my hand Homo sapiens, how am I going to write it? First I write it, then I underline them separately here. I'm going to underline them separately. I can't underline them like this. This is wrong. This is right. Okay. Now coming to the fourth point. The fourth point says the first letter of the first word is always going to be written in capitals, while the first letter of the second word is going to be written in small letters, which is Homo sapiens. H is always going to be capital. Sapiens, S is always going to be in lower case. Similarly, Mangifera indica, Mangifera M will be capital, but Mangifera indica M will be capital, but indica I will be lower case. I hope you've understood this much. In our next class, we're going to talk about, like the slide said, taxonomical hierarchy. We're going to talk about the words that we just learned: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, species, genus, right? All these, we're going to talk about how they're named, how the organisms are put into certain categories. I hope you understood today's chapter. Have a great day.